So today we get to do a couple songs by a woman named Shiloh Circle, and she's a great bringer of songs that have a lot of heart. I call them heart and earth songs. And this first one, it's pretty easy to get. It's call and response, so I'll do it first, and then we all do that together. And the words, carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. And then you repeat that back. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. And then, may I walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. So why don't we stand? So you just hear a part and then you sing it back. It's a little low. It's really goes like this. Carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. Carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. May I walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. May I walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. Carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. Carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. May I walk in beauty and sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. May I walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. Carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. Carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. May I walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. May I walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. Enjoy that tambura sound a little bit. One more time from the top. Carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. Carry the wisdom, carry the tales, carry the plants that teach them. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. I am the temple, I am the sea, I am the waters running free. May I walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. May I walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on. Repeat that. May we walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove. May we walk in beauty, sing with love, take flight on the wings of a dove.
Remain standing with me in praise of the divine presence in our midst, in our innermost hearts. Great Spirit, we thank you for our precious human incarnations at this time on the planet that we love so much. We feel the winds of change blowing through us, and we're not afraid. We stand in the knowing that your love prevails, that nothing can destroy your love. That your love is the most powerful force in this whole universe, and we are filled with it. We are tingling with it. We are divinely inspired, and we see visions of what we must do to bring forth your love in a greater way on this planet. So we welcome one another here. We welcome one another's unique mission. And we are here to support each other so that we can bring forth these missions. So just in this moment, just stand in silence for a moment and feel your solidarity with one another in this room. Feel your breath. Breathing this air that is breathed by beings all over the planet. We are one. We are truly one. We are of one heart and one mind, and we are one with the divine. It is such an amazing mystery. Just let it tingle through your body. You are divine, human presence, here with a tremendous purpose and mission. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. We praise you, Spirit. We thank you for your love in our lives that we see manifest every day. Thank you for the answers to prayers. And so it is. Amen. You may be seated. But before you do, actually, just turn to a person next to you and say, hi. I want to bless the children now.
By the way.
Today we're talking about Kuan Yin. And if anyone has revealed the face of God to us, Kuan Yin, she said, sit with me in divine faith and believe in me, and I'll be there. Remember, I am here for all beings until the last soul passes from this earth. Wow, what a commitment that she has made to us and to planet Earth. Well, you're probably already familiar with the goddess Kuan Yin, right? Because she's being remembered all over the planet these days. She's been for over 1,000 years considered the female deity, the prime female deity in the Chinese and Japanese pantheon. This goddess was traditionally the protector of mothers and children, but also of fishermen on the sea who risk their lives to bring us food. So this goddess represents the power of motherly love and compassion and loving kindness. But she's also the great shapeshifter. It's a little confusing when you start to research her history because she was a man, and then she was a woman, and then she was a man, and then she was a woman. We're more familiar with that nowadays. Right? But even a few years ago when I was reading about her, I'm like, wait a minute, who was she? Was she Avalokiteshvara in the early days of India, or was she Kuan Yin, the one who there are stories about her as the daughter of this emperor and all the hard things that she went through to try to be true to herself as a woman. So she's the great shapeshifter, you know. And it reminds me that we're here to learn about letting go of form. In whatever ways that we in particular have that challenge in our lives, we are here to learn how to let go of forms that we get attached to. Lately there's been this reemergence of a using of these 100 sayings, they're called, or 100 poems of Kuan Yin for divination purposes. I've got a book here that I recently found that's what inspired me to talk about this today. It's called the Kuan Yin Chronicles. There are many books coming out, though, that are about these 100 poems of Kuan Yin that are said to have been composed by humans who were tuning into Kuan Yin and felt her come to them and give them these messages. And then they were composed into 100 poems, and people all through the centuries have used them as a divination tool. In other words, to ask a question and then draw a card, so to speak, or look at one of these poems as the answer that they were seeking. So later in the service today, I'm going to do something with us with these divination tools. You know, Kuan Yin has been somebody that's represented what we believe here at Unity. She represented that evil does not exist. That nothing can overcome the God force of love in this whole universe. Nothing can overcome it. Kuan Yin emphasizes there's really no reason to fear. She teaches that no one is better than the next. She stresses the importance of accepting differences and the development of true community. Doesn't that sound like values that we really hold dear? She explains that it's necessary to return to our earth odysseys over and over, experiencing even the darkness, to finally enter into nirvana. And you know what nirvana is, right? The oneness. So Kuan Yin insists that our earthly experience represents the most important step in our entire evolution as eternal beings in this universe. That's what Kuan Yin emphasizes, how important our earthly lives are. The incredible process of being human allows for our higher selves to acknowledge and extract divinity from our trials and tribulations. Human mistakes and inaccuracies are no less important than divinity. Isn't that amazing? A lot of religions, I wouldn't say a lot of religions, because I think at the core all religions are saying this, but a lot of people get into a mistaken belief system that our earthly lives are not as important. But Kuan Yin is saying that what is needed on earth is for us to develop compassion for untruth. We must touch untruth's shoulder with the utmost tenderness, she says, tapping them on the shoulder. And in doing that, she shows her infinite capacity for love and forgiveness. She says that if we have this too, we can stem the tide of war and destruction. In fact, that's the only thing that can. The goddess maintains that through sprinkling elements of truth and healing with great compassion, that's how peace will come. This process really requires us to be centered upon and understand the issues of our own life from a place of healed detachment. Understand the issues of our own life from a place of healed detachment, you know? And that requires us doing our shadow work so that we can delve into those places where we get triggered and not just be satisfied with that, but to undo that pain in us so that we can start to truly have compassion and perceive the oneness in all of us. She says, while ego is responsible for maintaining the self during waking reality, much of the pressure of decision-making can be mitigated when we allow our relationship in the dream time, at night and in our dreams and in our visions, to come to us, and the higher self will take over and unfold. So divinity is not, according to Kuan Yin, who was a divine human. She was a human, and she became divine. So divinity is not, according to her, distant or unattainable. Rather, it's intimately associated with all that's considered realistic life on planet Earth. Isn't that great? I mean, that's what we have been so lucky to be being taught at Unity for years now. To spiritually assess one's personal dramas from a place of detachment. That's what we've got to do, to become integrated so that we become our higher divine selves. And it's a personal choice. And this personal choice that we have has the power to transform the course of our life path and indeed the course of life unfolding on planet Earth. That's how powerful we are. We've got to choose to realize our divine human nature. I am, you are, infinite grace. next song is on your sheets here.
Yes. Yes, you have the words. Please sing with me. You could imagine singing this to yourself, your neighbor, someone in your life you really cherish, or someone in your life that's difficult. You are infinite grace, you shine within all things. You are infinite grace, you shine within all things. How could I believe that we are not one mother? How could I believe that we are not one another? You are as the ocean is wide. You are can feel you inside. You are with the rocking tide. You are and you are You are infinite grace, you shine within all things. You are infinite grace, you shine within all things. How could I believe that we are not one mother? How could I believe that we are not one another? You are as the ocean is wide. You are can feel inside. You are with the rocky tide. You are and you are. You are infinite grace, you shine within all things. You are infinite grace, you shine within all things. How could I believe that we are not one mother? How could I believe that we are not one another? You are as the ocean is wide. You are can feel inside. You are as the rocky tide. You are and you are. Let's go back to the beginning and just sing You Are Infinite Grace. And if you're comfortable doing so, if you can just kind of sing it to somebody next to you or behind you, you make eye contact. You are infinite grace, you shine within all things. You are infinite grace, you shine within all things. You are infinite grace, great reflections, you shine within all things. And one more. You are infinite grace, you shine within all things.
So this is what Kuan Yin wants us to realize, that the divine is very close. In fact, she She wants to commune with us in a very intimate way. And she has communed with humans through time in that very close-up, intimate way, like whispering in our ear or appearing before us. So I discovered this book that was written by two women, Lena and Hope. And Lena would have these close, intimate conversations with Kuan Yin, and then Hope would record them for her. What a beautiful thing to do. It's similar to Hildegard of Bingen. She had her skivyas, which were her knowings, her visions, and then her friend, who was a monk, would record them for her. Maybe you have that going on in your life. You're having some visions and a friend of yours would help you record them.
Sorry, I just touched it. That was an amen. A punctuation. Oh, it was weird. Sorry.
So I'd like to take you on a little journey, and we could have some music behind, some instrumental music behind it if you're available for that. This is a journey that Lena had in her encounter with her, Kuan Yin. And it started off when Lena was reading this statement from Kuan Yin, when after she was all beaten up and sent off to the realms of Hades, of death, and then rose again from that, but then agreed not to go into complete nirvana until every last being on earth was also brought to that realization. After all of that, she said, you see, I'm still here. Nothing can destroy me. So drawing on the strength of that statement by Kuan Yin, Lena had this vision. So I'd like you to settle in, and you can close your eyes if you want to, and feel this vision, as Lena describes it, coming to us right here in this room, and the presence of Kuan Yin right now. Take a deep breath, and Lena's speaking here, and she says, I don't know why, but right now I find myself in a redwood forest. It's so beautiful. And once again, Kuan Yin has come to me, and she's in yet another form. I see her today as a white porcelain statue. She's statuesque, rigid, and nevertheless able to advance towards me, right where I'm standing. Quickly approaching, Kuan Yin now is near the redwood tree and me. I see the long train of her gown flowing down, down, until it flows into a hole at the base of the redwood trunk. I'm aware it's an entrance, yet another doorway into consciousness. And now the train of her gown is flowing down into the hole. And it carries me out into the universe. Her long robe has made a heart around the planet Jupiter. It's very much like the Milky Way, her long white gown. And I'm at the base of one of these trees, and I feel like Alice in Wonderland. My hands are holding effortlessly onto the end of her robe, and it begins to carry me. Her robe reminds me of something like a silver umbilical cord, spiraling around and all about. And I remember how they say that the silver umbilical cord represents our connection to divinity. So still clutching the silver cord of her gown, I now see Kuan Yin's face drawing very near to me. She's staring right into my eyes, lovingly looking at me. And I'm kind of overwhelmed, but I say to her, Kuan Yin, why have you brought me here? And then Kuan Yin transports me to a beautiful nebula in the universe, and suddenly I'm swirling around like a million stars in the galaxy, and I'm experiencing spectacular formations and reformations, the birthing and deathing of stars. And space is so peaceful and so quiet. Kuan Yin whispers to me, I made the nebula small enough so you'll feel like a bee inside of a flower. Kuan Yin is sitting on the long trail of cloth coming from her gown, sitting right next to me, pulling me close to her. She's comforting me with her arm around me like a mother would her child. Today she looks very young and mothering. She's holding me as if I were an infant, looking at me, gazing at me, and really seeing me. I'm aware that she loves me just the way I am. I'm not used to this kind of complete attention, and I can feel her strong intent as she gazes upon me. Kuan Yin wants to, I realize, if I'm willing to receive it, give me and all people this loving and healing energy. She wants to put energy into me, and it starts happening. This love, light, energy starts flooding into me. And Kuan Yin explains to me, we are sending humans this love, light, substance all the time. And suddenly I witness this orb of loving energy going out over the map of Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan, all over the Middle East. And Kuan Yin is calling for this prayer with great intention. She says, there will be different reactions to this love, you see. We are continuously sending love, and it's good, even though all may not perceive it this way. Love is showing the goodness of the Arabic people. Even though some are saying they're an enemy, they've been abused and humiliated, and a great new compassion is coming through them now. This is what prayer is. Many don't understand prayer. It's important to understand what prayer is. Prayer is sent out as strong intention and energy. There has been and still is right now too much of the male component. Things have gotten out of balance, Kuan Yin said. There's too much fundamentalist dogma going on. And I need you humans to get unstuck. You've got to send your focused intent of love out and be detached about the results. Trust the greater love of the universe that you don't fully understand how the earth is going to be healed. And I realize that if prayer requires such focused intent, then it must be that all of life is a prayer. And as Kuan Yin is sitting with me for a moment in silence, she then shows me something utterly mind-boggling. I'm now witnessing the scene of Hiroshima, the great mushroom cloud, and then Kuan Yin is inside of it. And now it is suddenly inside of her. And suddenly it explodes in her body and she absorbs it. She becomes the energy. And that is her message for this chapter on planet Earth. Nothing can harm her. Nothing. Even the utmost, most devastating force is transformed by her, softened, so that people will grow even when experiencing complete destruction. She is not afraid to merge with the most fearsome creations of humanity. You see, Kuan Yin says to me, I am still in my original form. It did not destroy me. Kuan Yin is passionately reminding us about the importance of being fully human on this earth. We must supremely value this opportunity for this human incarnation because you too can be like Kuan Yin. Your existence is eternal. This phase of your soul is so important because you're learning so much in this human form. This is where the individual's spark or existence can expand into bigger and more powerful energies. Some energies are not as potent as others. The only way to develop a potent energy is to live fully your existence on this earth. There, one can develop a compassionate nature so that when you're passing out into other dimensions, you can be of great help. When you leave this earth body, you'll be able to fully understand the happenings of this universe and be effective and helpful with your compassionate heart. You haven't been forced to come here. You chose to come here. No soul is forced into any assignment. You chose this. You're in your rightful space. You've got to learn the lessons of your destiny path. When you leave this earth, you have a lot more power, and it's not going to be ego-based power. It's beyond the ego. It's beyond good and evil. In fact, you see that evil is just a label, as everything is intermixed. The pendulum just appears to swing back and forth. So you're here to learn to let go of all fear and integrate it all. Now she's showing me a person running with sandbags. She's telling me that when this person finally lets go of the sandbags, he or she is faster and stronger. Oh, I get it. That's what this earth existence is like. In many ways, living on earth is an artificial burden. We get so attached to our suffering. But once one is free in our perceptions of being burdened by the things that happen to us and accept our destiny path, then we begin to learn how to shapeshift. Forms more easily move in and out, and we move in and out of them, and we become co-creators of form. In reality, co-creators with divine purpose. So set your intents carefully now. This is why we are here, to be co-creators with the divine intent. And so it is. Aho. Amen. Thank you for being these beings.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. The translation of this Sanskrit mantra is, may all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and to that freedom for all. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
I've asked Karen and Anya to read these two poems that are from the Wee Moon calendar. And every year I'm either gifted or get this wonderful calendar that's brought together by women here in Oregon. And they collect all of these poems and artwork and astrology readings. It's a beautiful book composed by women for women and men. And so Karen, could you read us the first poem?
Remember the remedy. It's time to go. Pack in a hurry. Pack flowers. Pack memory. Pack the dark longings in your bones. This is your destiny. Quickly, you don't want to miss a moment. The ritual you choose must feed your highest need, for you were born of ceremony. So come. Ride your wild up the sharp slope. Use your daughter witch effect to recite festival speech. Heap up sacraments to the spontaneous presence who, like an umbilical cord, links you directly to source. You arrive in the village broken open, carrying the story of suffering. Study the rapture, then apply the balm. Intention is medicine. Learn to eat the autumn air, make an offering of gratitude, translate everything, joy, sorrow, struggle, shame, into acts of art and love. Translate everything into joy, sorrow, struggle, shame, acts of art and love.
Good morning. Those holy moments. Those holy moments before sleep, when the mind lets go, and the hands and the teeth and the jaw unclench, and the body settles into the arms of the bed, and in winter comes the welcome weight of blanket, of cover. Those holy moments we call peace. May they cover the land. May they overtake the warrior. May they show us how to cease fighting among ourselves. May they unname the enemies, rename them friend, neighbor, community, world family. May we unname our enemies, rename them friend, neighbor, community, world family.
This week, I had a really down day during the midst of the week where I was feeling discouraged. And, you have those moments, if you're anything like me, when you kind of lose hold of your faith sometimes. And in those moments, negativity of perception of one's own life can flood in. And I started thinking about and remembering my life in a more of a negative way instead of a positive way. You ever have a moment like that? Raise your hand. I'm a pretty good optimist, but sometimes those kind of moments come upon me. And I went to sleep that night desperate for a dream, a help from Spirit. And I got a better dream than I could have ever imagined, which is how Spirit works with us, right? Beyond our wildest imagination. I had this beautiful dream of being up at the Circle of Trust, and people were flooding in from all over the world dressed in their ritual garments, bringing offerings from all of their different traditions in beautiful, creations, artful creations of them. And there were many, many people. We were all together so happy and celebrating through all these different ritual forms the truths that we know of our divine human nature. It was such a happy, celebrative dream that when I woke up in the morning, I couldn't help but feel different. And that next day, I had a wonderful day of many things happening. That's why I wanted these 2 poems read, because you can hear in them, like, okay, pack your bags, it's time to get going here, and, realize that we have to let go of form. It's okay, some forms have to be let go as we move along here. And we're moving into a place of this world community, just like that global event that took place on Saturday. We really are moving into a place of this amazing intermixing of world cultures in a way like it's never been able to happen before. So I'm so glad that Richard is going to sing this song for us called All My Kin.
Not down. Thank you.
That was a
Yes.
Do you need help, Richard?
A strong man. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I sing of golden fields, a fallen leaf on the wind, a rusted cannon by the sea, light that's passing through on into infinity, past 1 billion galaxies. The song that the great whales used to sing, temple bells that ring for all that passes on. A snowman standing in the sun, a dream world come undone, a newborn fawn. Sister and brother, we touch one another. Forest, ocean, and mountain man, we're all the same plan. The smallest vibrations are all my relations. A universe living in each grain of sand. And I sing with all my kin, with all my kin, everyone, everything. The rich man sold his life to buy him a paper dream, a long, hollow, lonely limousine. The boy's left his home, friends and family, to board a Trident submarine. the lover gone away, a broken mandolin, the great law giving what's deserved, a master who seeks to serve the harlequin. Billions of Buddhas and great bodhisattvas, shamans and seers and avatars here to show us the way. And hookers and junkies and lawyers and flunkies, we're each an integral part of the miracle play. And I say, they're all my kin. Of ages past, a golden age yet to be, a pharaoh's footprint in the sand, and a maiden with heart of stone so lovingly set free and softened by the sculptor's hand. The tribal drums, the timeless dance, the television celestial symphonies, the gift of water, salt and bread, the life-seeking quest of the dead, our tragedies. For demons bear wisdom and a chance for forgiveness, and yesterday's pain we can suddenly change. The wheelchair takes wing, for all the brightness needs all of the darkness. As winter gives birth to the spring, and we sing, and all my kin, all my kin.
Spirit has a way of bringing along the perfect thing, just what we need to encourage us. And after my dark day, an amazing thing happened to me that next day. I was up at the Circle of Trust, and a person that I have admired all my life since I was young came to visit me. Jean Houston came, and she sat with me up there and talked with me for a couple of hours. And she was interested in my life, and I've known her since my 20s. We've been around each other in many different settings and circles, but how about that? The Spirit sent her to talk to me on a day that I really needed it, whispering words of wisdom to me. Let it be. Don't worry, she said. Great things are happening. We have to let go of form. And Kuan Yin keeps reminding us about that as she shapeshifts in order to survive and still be here for us. Kuan Yin, Mary, all these feminine divine forms have been flooding into the consciousness of men and women these days because we need their help in the midst of this great turning. A quote from Jean Houston is, she says, "In our time, we've come to the stage where the real work of humanity is beginning." And that was so perfect for me to hear. She said it to me yesterday because I got this voice as I was walking down the path and feeling like maybe everything's ending. The voice came and said, "No, it isn't. It's just beginning." No matter how old you are, how young you are, something is afoot right now that's reminding us it's all just beginning. And we are shapeshifters of these forms. Jean Houston said, "It's the time where we partner with the Creator in the creation of ourselves, in the restoration of the biosphere, in the regenesis of society, and in the assuming of a new type of culture, the culture of kindness, which is spreading all over this planet." Don't you know? Herein, she says, we live daily life reconnected and recharged by the source so as to become liberated and engaged in the world and in our tasks. Don't you feel that happening? It is happening. When I attended graduate school at the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley, I was blessed to be a part of a group of women who met regularly with Vicki Noble. You know Vicki Noble? Mm-hmm. How many know who Vicki Noble is? Well, she's a visionary of our times, kind of famous, not as famous as Jean Houston, but she wrote the book Shakti Women, and she's a researcher of ancient history, and she was good friends with Riane Eisler and Maria Gimbutas, and so we got to meet with them often too. And at one point Maria Gimbutas came down with cancer, and we didn't know if she was living or dying, but Vicki asked a group of about 20 of us to come together one evening and on into the night to pray and do energy work for Maria Gimbutas. And, you know, it was such an honor because here's this woman, Maria Gimbutas, who spent her life as a woman archaeologist in a time when women just didn't do that, and also when women weren't respected. But she, as a woman, got to go to these ancient sites in Turkey, and she, with the eyes to see it, saw that there was this ancient culture of 11,000 BC, way before anything else that had been named or seen, and that it became named the Minoan culture. Did you know that she was involved in discovering and realizing this? And then we started to see the statues of the round, rotund goddess, because they were all over that site and that they were excavating, and there were these inverted triangular shapes on all the walls and buildings. And they discovered that there was this culture, and they realized it was happening all over the world at that time, where men and women lived in egalitarian ways and in complete harmony. And you know what? They found absolutely no weapons of war anywhere at these sites. Well, I made it my life path to, I led conferences and workshops, and therefore I got to travel all over the world to go to these ancient sites that were pre-6000 BC. So I went to China, to the Bempo village, where they say it was around 10,000 BC, where women were in authority along with men, and all the buildings were round, and they were agricultural, and they had no weapons of war there. And then I went to visit Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, and it's a pre-6,000 years ago culture, and there were faces that they had excavated on the temple walls that were of people's faces from all over the planet. How did they know that? Well, there must have been some kind of travel going on all over the planet, and they lived in harmony. Again, no weapons of war anywhere there. So we have a heritage on planet Earth of knowing how to live in great harmony with all other people and with all creatures on the earth and with the cosmos. We have to draw on that heritage now. It's in us. We know it. And today we see this dialectic in the rise of fundamentalism in contrast to this vision of the great harmony and the rebirth of culture and harmony on earth. So it's okay. It's to be expected because these paradoxes are all part of the growth process on planet Earth. The fact of shadow and light, of fundamentalism and new thought. This dualism is at the core of our growth. Whenever you have a renaissance of new life, you always have the rise of the old order. It's the way it's been on planet Earth in all the evolutions of culture, Jean Houston says. Some would call it entropy, she said, but some call it honing of our instincts, because the dialectic serves to sharpen and hone our cunning, our wisdom. It challenges our capacities to go deeper, to be truer to our essence. And can't you see that going on right now? As untruth comes out, and we don't condemn it. We tap it on the shoulder and say, hey, it's not true. And then we evolve and we come together with a greater vision. We don't cling to the past. And we have compassion for those that are feeling the need to cling to a past of, they say of America that was so great, but it never really did exist the way they're saying it existed, you know. So we just have compassion for their false memory. Because the dialectical play gives us this impetus to move forward. So don't fear the play of the shadow and the light, sol et sombre. Just know how to do your shadow work so that you work through the triggers. Like I was saying earlier, heal those wounded places when you get triggered, and move quickly now. Let go of the sandbags. And we're moving quickly now. Someone said to Jean Houston, as women get stronger, what do we say to the men? And she said, it's easy. I love you. I love you. And I understand the struggle that it is to be in a man's body right now on planet Earth. It's difficult to be embodying male energy at the end of a movement that's lasted for 5,000 years. But it's gotten imbalanced now. And we see the depth of men and what is trying to emerge from them, like with the Kuan Yin sensitivity. It's the biggest time of shift on planet Earth that ever happened in human history. There's never been anything like it. And so we have great compassion if there are those that are struggling with it. Without this waking up, though, the world will perish. So many, many women and men are waking up, coming to this knowing that we are all kin, that we are one species in the midst of a vast number of species. We're not alone. We're remembering just how interconnected we are with all living creatures. There's this great Buddhist word, paticca samuppada, and it means remember the interdependent co-arising of all things. So I go around saying that word to myself. Say it with me. Paticca samuppada. Paticca samuppada. Paticca samuppada. I had to practice it for a while. Sanskrit. It's such a great word that sums it all up, you know, that we are in this interdependent co-arising of all phenomena all the time. And from time to time, things get out of balance, it implies, and we've got to be willing to let go of form so that rebalancing can come. Let's skip ahead here. We're here, Jean Houston says, in this jump time. We all know this and we can feel it. Humanity is standing at this brink of self-wrought possible extinction of life. We have made life on earth unlivable for fellow human beings and untenable for future generations. So we've got to come together now to begin the new culture, to begin the great work. Who are we working for, she says? We're working for the future generations. But we're also working for ourselves, because we've had dreams all of our lives. And this week, being with her, I was reminded of dreams that I had when I was 4 and 5 years old about what planet Earth could be like. Did you have dreams when you were little of a wondrous society, of loving beings coming together in great community? I think we've had those dreams all of our lives. So we're working now very diligently for those dreams to come true. What is undeniable today is that despite the spiraling violence all over the world, there is a groundswell of people, of cultures and races and all backgrounds, a groundswell of people coming together to create value, to foster beauty, be created, to bring forth young men and young women's visions and old people's dreams, and to put our money, our heart, our energy towards this strong intent of manifesting something on earth that we've dreamt of all of our lives. We're straddling two eras. And so naturally we have to expect that there are those that are hanging on and have compassion. But it's time to go on now. I just want you to feel that for a minute in your own life. Straddling two worlds. We all are doing it in some very personal ways. We know that there are things that we are letting go of, sandbags that we're letting go of, that we've hung on to, clung to all of our lives, and we're jumping, we're taking the leap into these new ways of being. We've got to go on now and be with like-minded people and empower the teaching and the learning that has to go on right now through all of the different ways that we're being individually led to do. I have a vision for the circle of trust that's been in me for years and years now, that I am believing and moving in faith toward it coming true, that it's a beacon of light for the planet. It's been called, this area has been called the mouthpiece of Mount Shasta. And that piece of earth there has been sacred to Native Americans for hundreds of years. And I've seen, it sounds weird, but I've seen spaceships coming and linking up with it there. And whatever that is, whether it's real or symbolic, we are being helped by the cosmos, by beings like Kuan Yin, and very large energies right now are helping us and are linking up with us in our little seed pods. And I'll just end with a little story that Jean Houston tells about being with Margaret Mead when she died. And she said that she was there in the room with just Margaret, and Margaret sat up in bed. And she was close to death, you know. She sat up in bed and she says, "Get out of here, everybody, get out of here." And Jean said, "I'm the only one here." And Margaret said, "No, all the dead people, get out of here." I've still got something to say. So then she says to Jean, she says, "Forget everything I've taught you. It's not about changing the bureaucracies and the governments of the world. It's about people getting together in small groups. We've got to get them together in small groups, like-minded people, because that's where spirit is working. The small groups of like-minded people are denying the naysayers of a dying era. So tell them, Jean, that they are the embodiment of life on earth that's rising again, and that nothing can destroy them." And then she slumped back and went into a less conscious state. So those were her final words to us. And Jean said that a poem from this woman in India said a very similar thing to her. So this woman in India said, "We are men and women who have walked with Mother Earth. We have gloried in her blossoms and stumbled on her rocks. We have struggled but found our way, alone and together. We are emerging now from hardship, lighter and more connected. We today have gathered here and now as unbreakable iron." Can you feel that in yourself? We are starting to know ourselves, our spiritual truth, as unbreakable iron, resilient as bamboo, and fragrant as lotus flowers. Don't tell us we are not pragmatic and naive when we dream the new world. Who was it that saved the seeds in the great flood that we might eat in times of drought? Who was it that took midwife births in snowstorms, took care of the men in sandstorms, checkpoints and battlefields in agony, yet never with a fuss? Women are strong, you men. You have to support us because we're seeing the visions, and our intention steals us. This world we dream of stirs in our wombs, it itches under our feet, and it bursts with crystalline clarity from our lips. This is no utopia or fairyland we dream. This is reality. We feel it, we touch it, we hear it, we smell it, we long for it, and it is emerging from our wombs. It is real. We want it as our children's birthright. Listen to our heartbeats and heed the call of spirit, the wisdom of nations, the pulse of the nascent that beats steadily in our veins. We are here to co-create the future emergent, and nothing can stop us. So it is. Wow. So have right now for spirit, and hold it in your heart for a moment. A question, a prayer, maybe it's a struggle you're having or a direction that you're wondering which way to go. Something that you're wondering about. And we ask Kuan Yin to draw near right now, to draw near to you. So speak your question in your heart. And then I want you to think of a number from 1 to 100. Name a number to yourself from 1 to 100. And then, can't do it for everybody, but I'll put this book at the back of the room at the end. But for a few of you, if you're willing to call out what your question was, and then what number came to you, I'll read you Kuan Yin's answer from the 100 poems. Is somebody willing to call theirs out?
How may I best serve? And my number was 16.
16. Wonder is the name of it. This is not the moment for having a long face or a frown. Throw all fears out of your mind and let the joy in. It's like finding a place of jade in the middle of a dung heap. The workman stands and wipes the dirt off in wonder, and all things are accomplished. Somebody else?
Well, my question was, how can I serve you in unity? And my number is 88.
Wow. It's called the face of power. Carve a wooden tiger to guard the door. Its teeth are barred, but actually it will harm no one. But it seems to do the trick, but doesn't stop anyone else, only those that need to be stopped. So you can relax and be yourself while you're out being human when you have this kind of safety.
My question is, will my art and spirit help heal people on the planet? And my number is 44.
Wow. I was amazed at the titles of these. 44 is called The Chess Game. For the first time, you're meeting people on your level in this game. It's hard to know how to move. Why? Because one false step and you'll blow it. So think before you know what you're going to do, and trust these people that are on your level. One more?
My question was making a decision about geographic location for right now. My number is 99.
Don't know what this means, but it's called burned out. When you try to rein in a flocked horse, it's too late. To be half burned out alive with the other half dead, it's like having the whole house on fire around you. The summer rains will come right where you are and dissolve everything to mud.
Are you staying or are you going?
I had a similar question, and I asked it this morning, and I didn't think of a number to myself. I just opened it up, and I opened up to number 100, and it's called The Last Word, and it says, Buddha and the gods speak the highest truth in these oracles. The stupid person lies and turns his back on them all. But dear reader, I beg you, do not do this. Go the whole way right now. There's no time left to hope for better things.
Tell us the name of that book again.
This is called the Kuan Yin Chronicles.
Okay.
And this person has done sort of a modern translation of the 100 poems, but you can find other translations of them that are sort of more archaic online, but I like these modern translations of it. So I'll lay this book in the back, and you can look up your number in here, okay, and see the answer to the question. So we're going to take the offering now, and